Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Zakirul Haq, students from Jagannath University. Today we are here to discuss about fundamental elements of organizational behavior. And it is perception and individual decision making. Understanding perception helps us to become more aware of our own biases and better appreciate to the viewpoints of others. But before we dive into the details, let's take a quick look at what we aim to achieve today. In our today's lecture, we are going to know that the basic concept of perception, the factors that influence perception, personal perception, that making judgment about people, common shortcuts in judging people, rational decision making model, and the final one is common biases and errors in decision making. Let's dive into what perception really is. We know that perception is a process by which individuals interpret and select and organize their sensory impression in order to give meaning to their environment. That process starts with sensation, where our senses notice things like sights, sounds, and touches. Then the point is attention, where we focus on some of the information and ignore the rest. Next point is organization, where our brain arranges the information into patterns or groups using what we already know. After that, it is interpretation, where we give meaning what we see and hear based on our past experience, beliefs, and cultures. The final one is retention. We store information in our memory to use later while we making decision. Let's consider a real-life example involving recruitment. A recruiter perception of a candidate influenced by their first impression. For example, if the candidate arrives late, the recruiter might immediately perceive him as irresponsible or unprofessional, even though the candidate has excellent qualification and experience. Now, I would like to call Prantika Datta to continue the next topic.
Hello everyone, this is Prantika Datta. Now I am here to discuss about factor in the perception. So, factor in the perception are the things that affect how we see and understand the world around us. These factors are usually grouped into three main categories. These are factor in the perceiver, factor in the situation, factor in the target. Factor in the perception. Factor in the perception are the personal things inside a person that affect how they see or understand other people or situation. Attitude. A perceiver attitude can shape how they see things. Motive. Personal needs or desire influence perception. Interest. What we focus on is often guided by our interest. Experience. Past experience can shape our perception. Factor in the situation. Factor in the situation is anything that helps cause or change what's going on. Time. Morning or night can change how we think. Work setting. Stressful or relaxed setting can change how we understand situation. Social setting. Being alone or in a group can affect how we view others. Last, factor in the target. Factor in the target is an element that helps or affect reaching a particular aim or result. Novelty. Novelty means something new, different, or unusual that catches our attention. Motion. Fast or sudden movement catches our attention. Sound. Tone of voice or the way someone talks can change how we see, understand them. Size. Unusual size or shape makes a person or object stand out. Background. What we already know about the person affect how we see them. All the above, we see that perception is how we understand people and things around us. It is not same for everyone. Together, they shape how we see and respond to the world. I would like to invite Oyon to complete the next presentation. Thank you.
Prantika, I am very glad to join you. Hello everyone, I am Chandra Dash. My ID is V210202114. So without making delay, let's move on our presentation. Today I am going to discuss about a crucial topic on perception and individual decision making. My topic is about the person perception making judgment about others. To understand the topic, let's begin with a concept is attribution theory. So what is attribution theory? Attribution theory is a process when individual observe any other's behavior. They are naturally attempt to determine the causes, and in this process attribution theory helps us to identify whether it is causes of internal deposition or external situation. There are three key factors. They are distinctiveness, consensus, and consistency. So what is distinctiveness? Does anyone behaves in different way in different situation? Just like any employee who are punctual in the meetings, board meetings, and the other, or but he is late in his work time. This is can be the distinctiveness. And the consensus, do anyone behave in the same way as other employee behave in the same situation? An example for it, um, in a particular day every employee are being late in the office just because of a heavy traffic or roadblock or any natural calamities. And the consistency, it is refers that or do he behave the same way in same situation in the overtime. Just like any employee who is late always, who is always late in the office over the 3 month, this is her consistency. To understand these three key factors, we are presenting a graph that will help you to understand the topic greatly. In this graph, we can see the high distinctiveness and high consensus and low consistency is caused of the external factors, and the low distinctiveness, low consensus, and high consistency are causes because of internal factors. Attribution theory concept, we got some errors and biases. One of them is fundamental attribution error. The fundamental attribution error is the tendency to underestimate the influence of external factors and overestimate the influence of internal factors when making judgments about the behavior of others. In short word, I say we tend to blame the person first, not the situation. And the other one is the self-serving bias. Self-serving bias is the tendency for individual to attribute their own success to internal factors while putting the blame our failures on external factors. We are giving the rewards to ourselves but blaming others if we got fail. That is all about the attribution theory, and by which we making judgment about others. Now I would like to call MD Kuddus Ali to convey the next part. Thank you everyone.
Hello everyone, this is Kuddus Ali, student ID B2102022113. Now I am discuss about common judging shortcuts to others. In our daily lives and at work, we often have to make quick decision and from impression fast. To save time and mental energy, we rely on shortcut in thinking, what physiologists call heuristics. There are four common shortcuts to judging others. The first one is selective perception. The This means we tend to focus on things that confirm our existing beliefs or exception. For example, if a manager already thinks an employee is careless, they may only notice their mistake and ignore their success. This bias filters what we pay attention to and what we ignore. The shortcut 2 is halo effect. Halo effect on positive trait overshadows everything else. For instance, if someone is very punctual, we might assume they are also reliable and competent in every area, even if we have not seen proof. It's like a glow that affects our overall impression. The shortcut 3 is contrast effect. The contrast effect happens when we compare people to others instead of evaluating team on their own. Let's say a good performer gives a presentation right after a truly amazing one. The second person might make the first seem average, even though they did well. It's all relative and it is key perception. The last shortcut is stereotyping. Stereotyping is one of the most common and damaging shortcut. It means judging someone based on group identity rather than their individual traits. For instance, assuming a young worker is inexperienced or that someone from a certain background will behave a certain way. This assumption can lead to unfair treatment and missed opportunities. Now I would like to invite Afia Mubashara to complete the presentation. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Afima Bashira. My student ID is B2102021111. Now I am talking about rational decision making model. The rational decision making model is a systematic and logical process where an individual and organization make decision step by analyzing information, evaluating process alternative to reach the most effective decision. Here are 6 steps in rational decision making model. Those are: define the problem, identify the decision criteria, allocate weight to the criteria, develop the alternative, evaluate the alternative, and last select the best alternative. Now we are talking about this step in details. First step is define the problem. The first step is to clearly identify and define the problem. Without understanding the problem properly, it is difficult to find the best solution. For example, a country noticed that employee productivity is decreasing. The problem is, how can we improve employee productivity? After defining the problem, the next step is to determine the criteria or factor that will influence the decision. These criteria help in evaluating different alternatives and choosing the best one. Continuing from the previous example, the company decides that important criteria that will influence for improving productivity include employee motivation, training program, and workload balance. After identifying the decision criteria, the next step is to decide how important each criteria is. Not all criteria are equally important, so we give them weight to show their priority. For example, the company may give more weight to employee motivation, like 50% training, 30%, and workload balance, 20%. And the next step is generate the alternative. Generate alternative means listing out all the different options you can choose from to solve the problem. These are the possible choices you will later compare based on the criteria and weight you already set. For example, the company consider alternatives such as offering bonus, providing more training, or hiring additional staff. After generate alternative, the next step is to evaluate each option based on the criteria. You compare how well each alternative meet the criteria. For example, bonus. It can boost motivation but increase cost. Training. It improves skill but take time. Hiring more staff. It reduces workload but may not be financially feasible. The final step is the rational decision making model is to select the best alternative based on your evaluation. This is where your choice the option that best satisfies your criteria. For example, providing training is cost effective and improving productivity. So the company select that option. So it is the whole process of rational decision making model. Now I would like to invite Nahid Barfes for the next presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Nahid Parvez, and now I am here to discuss about common biases and error in decision making. Decision maker engage in bounded rationality, but they also allow systematic biases and error to creep into their judgment to minimize effort and avoid trade-offs. People tend to rely too heavily on experience, hence impulse, good feelings, and convenient rules of thumb. Shortcut can distort rationality. The following are the most common biases in decision making. Provide some suggestion for avoiding these biases and error. Uh, Confirmation biases, attribution biases, optimism biases, group thinking, self-serving biases, loss aversion, and confidence biases, harming effect. Uh, Confirmation biases. What it is: the tendency to seek out or interpret information in way that confirm on pre-existing belief or hypothesis. Effect: people may ignore contradictory evidence or give too much weight to information that supports their view. Uh, over Overconfidence biases. What it is? The tendency to be overly confident in one's own knowledge, skill, or prediction. Effect: overestimating the accuracy of one's judgment can lead to poor decision making or risky behavior. Attribution bias. What it is? The tendency to attribute one's own success to internal factor like skill or effort, and failure to external factor like bad luck, while doing the opposite for other. Effect: this can scale self-perception and impact decision making, especially in group context. Optimism bias. What it is? The tendency to be overly optimistic about future event and outcome. Effect: people may underestimate risks and overestimate their ability to success. Groupthink. What it is? The tendency for groups to make a fault or ineffective decision due to the desire for harmony, conformity in the group. Effect: this can lead to poor decision making because critical thinking is sacrificed in favor of consensus. Self serving bias. What it is? The tendency to attribute a positive outcome to oneself and negative outcome to external factor. Effect: this bias can distort an individual ability to learn from their mistake and improve decision making. Now I would like to call Rudra Borua to complete the next presentation. Thank you.
In this part, I will try to cover the common biases, error, intuition, and individual and organizational differences, as well as the cultural and ethical influences over the company. So let's moving forward. Uh, we can see that our decisions aren't always rational. We are often influenced by cognitive biases that distort our judgment. So according to Robinson, there are most common biases include overconfidence bias. So we think we know more than we do. Like we try to anticipate the question without proper preparation. At the same time, there are anchoring biases. It refer we fixate on initial information. Example, let's say a manager offering a salary to a candidate close to his previous job rather than comparing the market value. Or there are also confirmation biases. We seek an information that support and believe their belief. Okay, a recent employee thieved cause of manager in become suspicious of all stuff. So this is their personal confirmation biases. At the same time, we see various random errors and other issues. So, intuition. Robinson defined intuition as an unconscious process created from distilled experience. It's not guessing, it's rapid, experience based recognition of patterns. So, example, if a firefighter danger an existing a burning building before collapse, that would be a intuition. At the same time, Robinson define individual differences in decision making. Okay, so not everyone makes decision in the same way. Robinson highlight individual differences such as personality. Like there are two types of people, who one who take risks and one who are not willing to take risks. At the same time, there are gender trend. Women tend to ruminate more, but men are more action force. At the same time, mental ability, cultural background also influence the decision making. Cultural differences in decision making. We all know culture plays a big role in taking decision. As example, we can see that in Western, like in US, they prioritize individualistic and focus on rational analysis. But at the same time, in Eastern, like in Japan, they value consensus, long-term harmony, and group input. In taking decision, they try to gather the opinion of their people, and they evaluate the opinion in their decision making. But in USA, we see a different strategy. They try to take quickly and rational analysis. So, moving forward, ethics in decision making. So, in recent days, ethics is the growing concept in OV. Ethical decision making involves the consideration of the consideration right of other, ensuring fairness and justice, and evaluating a long-term consensus. There are three critical criteria like utilization, right, and justice. So in OV, these three criteria are more evaluated in decision making. Said that perception shape every decision we make, from bias and intuition to culture, ethics, and organizational limitation. Understanding this factor helps us make better and fair decision. So, at the end, it can be said that better decision start with better perception. So, perception is very important in taking better decision. Uh, and then I would like to thank our respected course teacher for assigning such important topic to us. And it's really helpful for us. Thank you so much, ma'am.